Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Timsy's Naked Tarots and another late Signs on Sunday. Okay, or Dreams and Signs on Sunday. I put this out to you, my viewers, about what topic I should be doing today. I narrowed it down to about 4, 5, which is kind of funny because I put ghosts in as an afterthought. It was 4, just the first 4. And then all of a sudden I thought ghosts. I dropped it in and you picked it. So probably why I suddenly thought of it and put it in there. Another sign, yeah, again. So we are doing ghosts. Thank you very much, viewers. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever tackled because information-wise on Google and searches and things, as signs go, not much. Okay, the best I got was what's it called? Veneration, which is basically kind of like remembering, like religiously remembering the dead. Okay, you can look it up in your own time. Lots of dreams. This is going to be more dream orientated signs than real orientated signs, but let's just start this up. I broke this into 3 different categories. You have got ancestral ghosts, which we'll be starting with. Ancestral ghosts would be like friends, loved ones, and families who have passed on to the other side and come back and visited you, well, to give you a message of some description. Okay, we are going to have non-ancestral ghosts, which generally are pretty much the same. You just have to take more notice to them. And then we're going to have like what I called hauntings, which would be a place, an item, an area which has a spiritual or ghostly connection to it. So, yes, thank you, viewers, for that. As always with all signs, they are personal to you, the person receiving the sign. If you saw a ghost and you were with someone else and they saw a ghost, yeah, it would mean different things to both of you. You, on the one hand, might recognize them as a past family member. They might recognize them just as a ghost. So there you go. Different meanings for different people. Always take that on board with any signs, tarot reads, especially if they're general ones, unless you're having personal ones done just for you, spiritual mediums just for you, then they mean different things for different people. When I pull a tarot read, it means different to me as I read it to you lot. So I go on the energies I'm feeling for you lot coming off those cards, not necessarily my own energies I feel off them. Yes, sometimes I might be tied into a similar situation with the tarot read or not. Sometimes it's like I will tell you about those cards and I will think, where the hell did all that come from? Because I've never experienced anything like it in my life. So that's actually where my next part starts. So my thoughts on ghosts are the 3 different types of ghosts I'm going to be dealing with. And firstly, we will be dealing with like what I will call the ancestral ghosts. These will be, as I said, people you know, love, parents and family and the like who have passed on. If you see these ghosts in the 3D real world, yeah, then it is a sign for you, okay? Or a sign for you to pass on to someone else within the family. But the apparition will be telling you this. Yeah, it will generally be a conversation. Now, sometimes these conversations, these signs will come through slightly different means. You may be skeptical of ghosts. It is part of the extreme side of spiritual understanding. Okay, so if you are you accept tarot reads, reading the lines on the palm of your hand to predict where you're going in the future, how many children you might have, how many marriages you might end up in, all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to a ghost, someone who's died coming back to give me a message, no, I can't buy that one. Then these spiritual beings will come back and tell you in other ways. Perhaps you will be talking to someone who would be a similar age to your past person, yeah, if they had still been alive, and they would talk in a similar way to how your past person would have talked. They will possibly use the same sort of sayings or things like that. If you see anything waving around in the background, that would be my son stretching. Thank you, Riley. So yeah, so they will come through, and it may be coming through a 3D real life living person, but it will be coming through as the spirit. Okay, almost like the spirit may not possess them, but be taking over a vacant part of their mind and using that to communicate through. Okay, I really have to separate my notes so I can read them a bit better. What else can I say about the friends and family? Yeah, there may be certain smells what may remind you of these persons. And again, if you are a skeptical sort of person, well, you might just write that off as well. You smell these things all the time. Okay, but do you always smell that exact perfume your grandmother used to wear? Or do you smell that exact cigarette or cigar smoke smell which another past person may have always smoked their favorite one, and possibly they may have only smoked these at special occasions, like maybe a cigar at Christmas time, but you remember that because it was a special occasion, and that would be your first sign to be taking off that. Oh yeah, that reminds me of Christmas time, because that's when Granddad Jim used to smoke his cigar. Okay, so you've got to take on board these sort of things as well. From an ancestral point of view with ghosts, they will be very personalized messages and signs coming towards you. Okay, it is very possible we'd take that scenario I said right at the beginning where you and your friend are there, you both see a ghost. It's very possible the friend don't see the ghost, only you do, because it is just for you. So what else can we say about ghosts and things like that? Sometimes they are your guardian angels. Okay, you may have a family member who passed while you were very young, or even possibly before you were born, and they then become your guardian angel to look after you. I do have a personal experience on this one. My eldest brother is one side of a twin. The other did not survive, bless his soul. And apparently, according to a medium I have seen, that is who my guardian angel is. Okay, notice the skepticism in my voice. I am by nature a skeptic person. If I can't see it, I don't really fully believe it. Okay, aliens, yeah, I'm sure they're out there. Thousands of millions of galaxies, thousands and billions and trillions of planets in those galaxies, or suns in those galaxies, and then the tens of dozens of planets around those suns. We're not the only life out here, okay? But I have not knowingly, consciously seen an alien. Thus, I do not fully believe they are there. If they are there, what interest do they have on Earth? Okay, same with ghosts. Although I have seen ghosts, and I do believe slightly more than most about them. As I was saying about my guardian angel, my brother who passed at an early age, about 6 years before I was born, apparently he is with me all the time. He apparently attached himself to me because I will have the same sense of humour he would have had. Okay, and so he shares in my what's the right mischievous side. So and he has shown himself to me a couple of times. The first time I can remember, I woke up late one night and there was it's going to sound really weird when I say this out loud, a glowing head on the table at the end of my bed. And strangely enough, because of my young naivety, I just thought that was my brother. It looked pretty much like my brother, which wouldn't be surprising if my guardian angel is my brother who's passed. Now, I rolled over, went, yeah, very funny, got me on that one. And there was my brother, and he was decided to sleep on the floor that night for some reason. He was all wrapped up in his duvet on the floor. I look back, glowy head is still on the table. I was very young at this point. I'd done the normal thing a young child would do and hide under the covers until it went or I fell back to sleep. I think the sleep came first. I am very good at that. Okay, so that was one time. Another time I was walking back home and I came out of a road which was pretty much opposite my house. And as I started crossing my road, I saw my oldest brother, the surviving member of that twin pairing, down at the other end of the intersection of the road, then turning around a corner. And I was shouting at him, and I was calling him, and I was waving at him, and he just turned around, smiled at me, ignored me, and walked off. And then I was swearing about him. And I was swearing about him all the way until I got into the living room in my house, and there he was sitting. There's no way he could have got there as quicker than I did. Okay, so that is another case of when I have seen my guardian angel. Okay, so yes, I do believe in ghosts. And these, they could present themselves like that. It could be that you see people who look very familiar, to someone who has passed on within your close-knit family or friends, and you think it's someone else, but it's not. It's actually them. You think it's an uncanny likeness. It's their twin from another mother, but it's not. It's actually them. They physically show up. And here is another one. How often, do you walk up the street and see people? Well, do you stop and poke them and check to see if they are real? No, you could be walking past ghosts every day of the week and not even realize. Okay, so that's my views. Getting to the internet part of it, as I said at the beginning of this video, there isn't much I can find on spiritual signs, spiritual meanings of spirits, ghosts, apparitions. What else did I look for? Shades. It was hard to find any sort of information on it. Okay, other than, for most of these searches, the main thing what came up was veneration. I had a little look at veneration. It is a lot of what the religious practices, cults do. Cults, sorry if I'm calling your personal religious beliefs a cult. So, but yeah, it's what they generally do. Someone passes, you have a funeral for them. Every year you remember that time. You may remember their birthday. You may think about them at Christmas. You may say a little prayer for them. That's all sitting down in the veneration. In the Catholic belief, they don't do it so much on a personal, everyday, mundane person level. They more save their venerations for their saints. Okay, but there are other religions where they take it quite seriously, like in the Latin American countries or Mexico, which is a Latin American country. They have a whole day where they celebrate it. Just for your curiosity, if you are interested in that, this year it is on the 2nd of November. I'm not sure if it's the 2nd of November every year. I didn't check a calendar to see if it's a certain Saturday or a certain Sunday of every year, but it is the 2nd of November this year. Google told me that much about ghosts. Okay. So yeah, the internet was a bit of a flop, but we do have certain things within certain religions and cults which spend a whole day celebrating, okay, the Day of the Dead, where you remember your loved ones, and within that remembrance of those loved ones, they live on. Which then takes me on to pagan practices. Okay, I found a little bit about pagan practices about the dead or ancestral spirits and the things, and you've got Vikings. It's my go-to when I'm looking for paganism. I go to Vikings first, and then I explore the pagan side of everything afterwards. What can I say? I like Vikings. Must have spent a lifetime there at least once. Okay, so they do have all pagan practices, pagan practices, pagan religions, if you want, past and present. They all have an element of this practicing remembering the dead, okay, as well. In their beliefs, though, on the whole of it, is the dead spirits, the past spirits, the people who have passed on. Well, they bestow blessings on the lands where they used to work, or the lands they lived on, or the lands that they loved much. So if they went raving in England all the time, in the Vikings' case, they may possibly bless the English lands and not necessarily the Scandinavian lands, because possibly they loved the English lands more than the Scandinavian lands, or vice versa. Perhaps pagans came from England by way of Viking raids, and they loved the Scandinavian lands more than the English lands, and they settled there. Which brings us on to, okay, I'm doing it slightly out of order now. Oh no, let's go on to dreams. So when you are dreaming about ancestral spirits, okay, this is where we get into a little bit more depth, because there is a little bit of scope within the dreams. When you are dreaming about ancestral spirits, that quite often symbolizes troubles and misfortunes on the path you are now traveling on. Now, obviously, we can always come off the path. It's not set in stone. Unless it's a stone path, then it is set in stone. If it's a tarmac path, it's set in tarmac. But it's not a given. It's like a river. A river flows, the currents changes in the river. If you were just drifting down a river on the currents, you would just move from one side of the river to the other, depending on where the currents are taking you. Exactly the same as your path of life. Now, you can hop from one path to another. You can avoid troubles on a path if you know about them in advance and the like. That is what a lot of tarot reading is all about, is a lot of what fortune telling is all about. Predicting or getting off the future energies, what may be in your way and how you can get around it. Now, an ancestral ghost coming and visiting you while you are asleep, it could be telling you of a trouble or a misfortune approaching you. Okay, and then on a positive side, it could tell you the best course of action around it. Sometimes you have to face the trouble. Sometimes you have to deal with it. Sometimes it is a learning thing for you. Yes, you could avoid it, but it will just keep appearing on whatever path you end up going on, because it is a key moment within your life and you have to go through it. Okay, other times it's not a key moment. It's a key moment more in someone else's life and you're just involved in it, or your path is very close to it, so you're going to be caught in the aftermath of it. And the ghost, the spirit, will be telling you, well, you can actually just go around it, avoid it. It might take you a little bit longer to get to where you're going, but it will save you a lot of trouble in the long run. So on a positive note, the spirits visiting your dreams can be seen as blessings. Sometimes blessings in disguise, but still blessings nevertheless. Also, through dreams, your ancestral ghosts could be giving you the personal information that you need. It will be another way of seeing the spiritual ghost, okay? Yeah, you might not see it in the waking 3D world. You might only ever see them in the 5D world when you're asleep. And you could sit down, have a full-blown conversation with them, okay? They all mean different things. And again, the best advice I can give you on this is go and Google it, or find a professional dream interpreter who will do it for you. Yes, I am quite a good dream interpreter, but unless you actually tell me the ins and outs of your dream, I don't know exactly what it is. Again, I'm generalizing on these videos because there's more than one of you. And as I said, all these signs are unique to each and every one of you. Okay, so I think that's covered that one. So we'll go on to the second section of ghosts. Okay, the second section of ghosts are what I've deemed as non-ancestral ghosts. These are possibly spirits of famous departed people. James Dean, there you go, there's one off the top of you. John Wayne, there's another one. Okay, so you have a dream of John Wayne. I know, it's random. I'm sure one of you've had a dream of John Wayne, and that's why I'm picking up on it. But I haven't, don't worry. Now, the dream, or John Wayne was known as the Duke. So your whole dream of that spirit, that reason that the spirit has come to you in the form of John Wayne, and it is something to do with the Duke. Okay. Now, obviously, if you're nobility, that could be an uncle or a cousin of yours. If you're not nobility, it could be the name of the pub you drink at, or it could be the name of a nickname for someone you know. So the information you're getting is either about the Duke or coming from the Duke. Okay. Just for an example, they will be a lot more general, the information you will get from non-ancestral spirits, because they're not personally linked to you. You will have to start to pick apart the dream, if it's a dream. If you saw John Wayne or Elvis walking through the gates of Graceland and the security didn't even see him there, yeah, there is song lyrics in there somewhere, trust me, then you have to pick out what those signs are. Okay, what does that mean? What they're walking through a gate? Well, a gate's a barrier. They're walking straight through it like it doesn't exist. Well, perhaps that barrier you think is blocking you from something along your road doesn't exist either. It's an illusion of a barrier. Yeah, it's like a no entry sign. Okay, it's there. Everyone knows that you're not allowed to drive your vehicle up that way because of that sign, but there's nothing physically stopping you from doing it. Okay, just like a ghost walking through a wall or a gate or something solid, it could be telling you that thing you think is a barrier in your life, you can just walk on straight through. You can just carry on. It's not going to cause a huge issue if you go through it. Obviously, I'm not condoning driving up the wrong way on a one-way system. You will get arrested by the police at some point, probably lose your license, definitely get a fine, possibly even injure, hurt, or kill someone. Okay, don't do it. Stick with the flow of the traffic. Okay, little public announcement there. Okay, after that, so from that we're going to go on to places which are, or what I'm going to just call as hauntings. Okay, which will be places people sometimes are haunted. A spirit will just attach themselves to a person. Like mediums get it all the time because they are mediums. They are a conduit between that spiritual world and our world. Okay, so the spirits will quite often attach themselves to the mediums. Mediums will be walking around with spirits around them all the time, knowingly or unknowingly. Definitely unknowingly to you if you're not a medium, but definitely probably knowingly to them. So these can be attached to anything: places, items of jewelry, a music box, absolutely anything. If anything I'm saying in here that has any meaning for you, feel free to drop it in the comments. I will try my best to be live from the start of this video when it goes live, barring any technical issues like I had last week. Okay, so yeah, feel free to drop anything in the comments if you are watching. Obviously we're now 23 minutes in. I really should have said that at the beginning of the video. I don't edit, so it's not going to happen. So yeah, so when we're talking about haunted places, like a haunted castle, for example, lots of people have died in castles over the many years they've been there, and well, some of those energies have stuck for whatever reason. A bit like how the Vikings believe that the past people will bless the lands and areas they lived in, so do these people who lived in the castle. Maybe their life was so great in that castle compared to what they had before they got to that castle. Obviously not what they had after the castle, because they died there. They actually linger in that place because it was a happy, joyous place for them. I suppose another possibility for why you will have like a residual energy within certain places could be the formation of what those places are made from. Okay, when you think of castles, they're normally made of big granite blocks, big is it igneous blocks, which are made from volcanoes, something like that. They contain a lot of crystals. Now, possibly here's the theory. I don't know if it's a proper theory or not, but it's definitely my theory. I've thought of this in the past. I don't know if anyone else has. Now, if something is happening, they die suddenly, it comes a shock to the system, okay, both physically and mentally. Now, it's possible that you put out such an emotional energy wave as you die, yeah, that it can be recorded. Okay. Now, if the sun's streaming through a window in the side of the castle, and it streams through your energy outburst as you die into the crystals within the rock next to where you died, not you personally, someone, okay, someone died, into the rock. Now, every year when that sun is in the exact same place, a bit like the anniversary of someone's death, is it an anniversary? Remembering the day of someone's death, or the things like that, a birthday or something like that, that exact moment of the time of day and everything, the sun streams through, hits those crystals, and projects out the image, what happened. And that might be what you see. Now, again, these sort of hauntings, you may, for the skeptics out there, may just say, well, okay, even if that is the case, Simon, and the crystal within the rock recorded the image of what happened, and you get to see that once a year, as long as the sun is shining, then why is it a sign? Well, because you're there, okay? If you're in that right place at that right moment, there is a reason for you to be there, to see it. Now, it could just be your sign is actually accept spiritualism a little bit more. Don't be so much of a skeptic, okay? Or it could have some more personal, deeper meaning to you. As I said at the beginning, the signs are all independent to you, okay? And for those skeptics out there, yes, there is a lot of buts, maybes, ifs in things like this. But it's because we are dealing with more than one person. Yeah, as I say, what is a sign for one person is just an everyday occurrence for someone else. Okay. So yeah, and if you have personal items which are having spirits linked to them as well, there are professionals out there who can deal with that. And I don't necessarily mean detaching that spirit from that item, but sometimes that is helpful because the spirit is attached to it unwillingly, and it's the thing that holds them from actually passing over properly, an anchor, if you will. But you can, there are, I can't remember what they're called. There are people out there, and on the mediumship level of speaking with the passed on and all that, they can get information just off touching an item. Okay, so if you feel that you have something which is haunted, shall we say, then you can take it to one of these professionals. They could tell you all about it. They would just literally hold the item for a few seconds, and then they would tell you, oh yeah, this ring belonged to a woman called Anne from 1873, who, and that actually means something, a woman called Anne. I normally use J names when I'm picking random names. Yeah, and so on, and tell you the history behind that ring, and possibly how many spirits are actually attached to it. Okay, if it's a very old ring and it's gone down through various different generations, yeah, we all may just imprint a little, I don't know, time capsule on every item we touch. Just how we may possibly leave a fingerprint on something, perhaps we leave a little spiritual marker saying, yes, Simon drunk out of this mug on the 12th of June. Perhaps only until we wash it. Okay, maybe we wash it off the same as we had washed the fingerprint off. I'm not an expert in the spiritual side of things when it comes to communing with the other side, talking to ghosts and the like. I'm not a medium. Not knowingly, anyway. Okay, I know I do have a couple of friends out there who say, are you sure you don't talk to people? Because the only person who knew that was my gran. Yes, possibly. It's just something that pops into my head. That's that if I do communicate with the passed on people, it is just literally, they just pop into my head, okay? Drop in something and then they go. I don't sit down and have full-on conversations with the past people. Okay, so other spiritual meanings of ghosts within dreams. Okay, there is quite a few on there. There's I scrolled through lists of 28, lists of 13, and things like that. Obviously there would be a lot of repetition within them, so I have just pulled out a handful. Yeah, so some of the things of dreaming about ghosts could mean that you are living in fear, okay, or a continuous state of terror. Perhaps you hold a secret of some description and you're worried that that is going to come out and someone is going to tell about your secret. And if that is the case, you may be dreaming of ghosts. That secret may be a representation within your dream as a ghost. It's something what's not there. It's not real. It's not corporeal. Is that the right word? It's not solid. Okay, it's a thing. It's a memory. It's something what happened in the past, and people have held on to it because it could be important one day. A secret. Okay, you have jealousy. Ghosts can appear as jealousy within dreams. If you are jealous of someone, normally we try to get that emotion under control, push it down, and if we don't deal with it properly, it is always there, slowly but steadily eating away at us, and that could appear as a ghost in your dream as well. Regrets. Normally regrets is something you are missing. Okay, now ghosts are something you are missing. They're missing their 3D body. They're missing their vessel, what holds them all together. They're just a spiritual entity at that point. They're missing solidness. They're missing from the world you currently live in because they are now a ghost. Okay, so the ghosts can represent regrets, especially if you are dreaming of an ancestral ghost. You may regret that they actually moved on to the other side. Perhaps you feel betrayed by them, and again, that's the jealousy side of things. You feel jealous that they got out of this rat race and you're still stuck in it. It's not a nice feeling. Okay, just let them go. Let them go. A lack of assertion. Okay, when you don't feel like you're good enough for something and you don't feel capable of taking on the world, you may start dreaming of ghosts. And in that particular sense, you would be dreaming of them being, or you are the ghost. You are invisible to the world. No one notices you. You are not a solid being. Okay, and you will start dreaming of the ghosts. And theoretically, when you talk about ghosts, they are the spirit. They are our soul. I'll rephrase that. They are the soul of us, okay, which have departed this fleshy vessel that they live in while they are on this plane of existence. Okay, so we have all been ghosts at certain points within our spiritual existence, and we have come back to various different souls or various different vessels and deposited ourselves in there and become the souls of those vessels. It is very possible that with coma victims and people who are near-death experiences and things like that, it is very possible that one soul actually departs the body and another soul comes in to take over, especially if there is a major personality change or something like that which goes on. But obviously these are not random events what happen. It's not as a rogue soul floating around in a hospital waiting for an empty vessel. It will be planned out. And before the soul or the vessel got occupied at the beginning of its existence on this plane of existence, the energy beings, the souls, whatever you want to call them, would have communed with each other and said, well, okay, yeah, let's share this body. You do the first, 48 years, and I'll do the last 48 years. You just want to see what the beginning of life is like. I want to remember what the end of life is like, and we'll go with that. Okay, so they do. There's a crossover, and you preordain it. At about 48, we'll have a terrible accident, go in a coma. Yeah, they've got the technology to keep us going while we're in that coma, so we can take our time, do a slow transition. We can have a talk about what's been going on, and then we'll swap over, and off we go. But bear in mind, up in the spirit world, the energy world, whatever you want to call it, the 5D, time doesn't exist the same way as it does on this planet, or probably any other 3D planet in the universe, which is what we talked about right near the beginning. Okay, when I mentioned aliens. And aliens, all what they are is a different type of vessel for the same type of souls. Yes, if you are believing that you have been a spirit at some point and you are a ghost at some point and you are just a spirit in a fleshy body, then you've been an alien as well. Okay, we've all gone through it. We've all been there. It might be why we all sort of kind of believe that there is definitely aliens out there, even though none of us really believe it because none of us have really seen them with these eyes we are looking through at the moment. Okay, so that's where I think I'm going to wrap this one up. Hopefully it helped you a little bit. I did find this topic quite hard, even though I have had personal experiences with ghosts and things in my life. I do believe in them. I found it quite hard researching it, finding out the information on the internet, and I don't have many books on them. So I couldn't even fall back on the old-fashioned paper versions of research. So a lot of this is coming from my personal beliefs, okay? The things like the dream stuff, that is coming from the internet, so you can go and find that as well. So yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this. Thank you if you have subscribed to my channel. I think checking back through the stats on these videos, it is mainly my subscribers who come and watch this. It's not going out to many new people. So yes, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking if you have liked. Excellent if you have commented. Fantastic if you managed to make it during its premiere. That's even better. Hopefully I will see you all with H, is it? Yes, H next week. I'm not sure what we're doing for H yet either. Okay, so it may be another vote for the public. Who knows? Who knows? Not me at the moment. No one's informed me yet. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoy these, and I will catch you all next time.